Hello all, Seriously is here, back for another tips and tricks video. Today we are going to talk about upgrade module re-rolling. So if you have modules that are upgrade modules, like, that's a blueprint, these are upgrades. Anything that you can build yourself, if I were to dismantle this, the bottom middlemost button there, bottom option, and rebuild it, I would just need the recipe and the blueprints. These you have to install from upgrades that look like this, or let's go over to the technology merchant and buy a couple because we're going to showcase that today too. Multiple ways to do this. So I want to go into here and I want to buy a couple of S-class and C-class modules maybe. Let's see what he's got for sale. This is the weapon merchant. I talked to the wrong guy. I want to talk to this guy. I am looking for one S-class upgrade module still, so we'll see if this station just happens to have it. Toxic. I think I'm looking for radioactive, not toxic. So no, it doesn't have it. What does it have for C-class modules? We'll buy one of those. We'll buy one of those. That'll showcase it. I don't like to do it that way. It just takes a bit longer. It takes a lot more space. So we're going to showcase the easier way to do it as well. It's a little bit more cheaterly. Now this whole method of re-rolling your exosuit upgrade modules, or your multi-tool, or starship, or even I think some of your freighter module. No, the freighter modules are all set, not randomized. Re-rolling these is cheating in a way. It's what's called save scumming. We're going to be using a restore point. We're going to hop into our ship, out of our ship, and we're going to load that game if we don't like our results. We're going to be save scumming. So it's all cheating. We're going to showcase an even more efficient way to cheat. And this is something that's just a little bit hard to do in the game if we look at our upgrade modules. Today I'm going to be upgrading these to X-class modules, and we're going to showcase how I go about that. But lots of upgrade modules. You see this one here has 4 different things it gives on an S-class module, and there are at least 6 or 7 different things that can be on this. This one has initial boost power and sprint recovery time. This one here has initial boost power and sprint recovery time. This one here does not have sprint recovery time. This one here has fuel efficiency instead. So there's a 5th one that we haven't seen before, and there's at least one more, if not 2. These modules down here have a huge variety of things they can be. That's these rebuilt exosuit modules from the autophage camps, and Sentinel exosuit fragments, a forbidden exosuit module upgrade. That's what gives you these 2 here. This is autophage, this is Sentinel. They're identical, but you can get 3 of each. So, and they stack. So I did. And there's a huge variety of options that they give for things. I think there's 8 or 9 different things that they can give, and I've re-rolled these to get the ones that I want. So those are done. Getting these without re-rolling and having so many options on each of these things takes forever. So I'm not against save scumming, just to save a lot of time. It's not just saving a little bit of time. It's saving maybe 100 hours of gameplay to get kind of these kind of roles natively. So what does the roles mean, and how do the upgrade modules work? I guess we should cover that now. What upgrades you get when you install one of these is dependent on what is called a seed number. When you make your character, it's given a specific number. It's part of its character. That number gets run through an algorithm to determine a whole bunch of things in the game, and one of those things is what upgrades you're going to get in what order, and it is set because it is based on an algorithm. It will always be the same. If we make a restore point and we open up 3 of these, they're going to overload because I have not taken out the S-class modules yet. That's fine. We will see that this one here gives these stats, 219% tanks and 35% sprint distance. We'll just remember those 2. This one here, I might want to remember number 2. Number 2 is already better than most of the modules I have. So yeah, we might keep this one. And number 3 is really, 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 really bad, right? So actually, you know what? Let's try to remember these first two. We should have just done 2. 219.35, 228.36. That's our first column of numbers, right? Let's reload that restore point we just made. Get our modules back. They won't be installed. No matter how many times we reload this restore point, we will always get those 2 numbers first. Doesn't matter where you installed them. This is where we installed it last time, and we got 219.35, and we're going to get 228.36 over here. Doesn't matter where you it doesn't matter. What matters is the order of progression. So what we're going to do now is showcase how to progress that seed the expensive, time-consuming way. And by expensive, I do not mean at a huge cost. We bought those C-class upgrade modules for like 20 or 30 nanites each. It's dirt cheap there. I'm talking about inventory space cost savings and time cost savings. So let's install one of these, and then we'll just uninstall it, get a couple of modules for it. Now we'll install this one here, and we should have the 228.36. Even though we didn't install it in the bottom row, even though we didn't install it first, we basically did install it first. We installed this first, we progressed the seed, and we got this one instead. So I am happy with that. I'm going to look at these. Sprint recovery time and initial boost power. Yeah, these are identical modules for that. I think I'm going to replace... This has lesser tanks than that, but more tanks than that. So I'm going to replace this one with this one. And I'm not, you know what? I am going to put it in the supercharged slot. No, you know what? I'm not, because I want to be able to remember what stats this has. So I have 9 slots available, and I have 9 upgrade modules. Now we did also see that the third upgrade module had like 141% tanks and, you know, really bad stats. So I'm going to install this other C-class module. I'm going to uninstall it like that, get some resources back. We're going to make a new restore point, and I'm going to show you the even more cheater way where you don't need to waste extra slots or even C-class cost of nanites, which is paltry. Don't worry about the cost. It's not the cost savings of nanites we're worried about. It's the time savings. You can do this with any piece of technology that you have installed. So we're going to go find something on the suit to do it with, say a hazmat gauntlet. That's a good idea. Make our restore point with our suit arranged the way we like it. So a slot available close to our hazmat gauntlet. We just made the restore point. We can try installing all 9 of these. There's no point in having more of these than you have available slots to look at. If you only have 3 slots to check stuff out, only buy 3 modules. But if you've got 9 slots, maybe you should have 9 of these to check at a time. The more you have to check at a time, the faster you can narrow down where you're going to get your good modules at. So that's not something I want. That's not something I want. That one looks pretty good. So that is 1, 2, 3. Number 3, we're going to remember number 3. Number 9 is also okay. I would prefer to see fuel efficiency over sprint distance, especially such a small sprint distance. I'm taking care of sprint distance here. So number 3 and number 9 are very good modules for me. So what we're going to do is we're going to reload the game just like we did before. And we're going to remember which modules we want. We want number 3 and we want number 9. So one thing we can do right away is we know for a fact that we don't want these S-class modules anymore, so we can just delete those. Get some resources back. We're going to move this guy here. We are going to go down to our hazmat gauntlet, and we're going to store technology. I call this packaging technology. Some people call it package because, you know, it says create a deployable package, but it's store technology. Whatever button that is for you, press that. when you do the next step, install, this is where you want to start counting. This is our first install. Now we're going to take it out just like we did and do it again. That's our second install. And now we're on seed number 3. We've just progressed the seed 2 by doing that, and we should get a really good upgrade module here. Let's take a peek. 239, 11% efficiency, 38 read. That's a really fantastic module. I'm not even going to wait. I know it's the best of the 3 that we're going to have. I'm putting that in the supercharged slot for almost 300% tanks, 73% recharge rate. That's going to help the jetpack recharge super fast. And fuel efficiency, 30% means we're going to consume fuel 1/3 as slow. So that's fantastic. So that was number 3. We've now installed the 3rd module. So we're going to go back to the hazmat gauntlet, and we're going to count 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, making this number 9. And we should get a good module here. Was it 319? 218, I mean, sorry. If it was a 300% module, that would be noteworthy. 35% recharge rate, 218% tanks, much better than the S-Class modules we had before. And that's the process. That's how you re-roll it. You don't need to be getting X-Class modules. You can re-roll your A-Class modules, your B-Class modules. Any module you want to re-roll, you can using this method. I find it's best to save re-rolling for the higher end stats. If I'm just buying S-Class modules, I tend to just go with whatever they are, and because they're all within a very narrow range. X-Class modules have a high range. As you saw, the jetpack tanks go from 230 something percent to 120%. So they can be very, very, very low or very, very, very high. So that's why it's worth re-rolling X-Class to me. Anything that has a lot of stats that it can be, and only 4 are going to show up at a time, and you want specific ones, that's worth re-rolling to me. Blueprints are always going to be the same stats. You're never going to get anything different from your blueprint upgrades. No point in trying to re-roll blueprints. Just upgrade modules that you purchase. X and S-Class are probably the only ones you want to do, except for these 2 here from the Sentinels and Autophage. For the Starship, lots of stuff to reload. Weapons are good to reload. You definitely can get some really, 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 really good X-Class launch cost modules. You can get your ship down to 2 or 3% costs per launch, which is huge. You can do like 50 launches in a row, and by the time you do, your auto charge recharger will replenish that. So that's something worth re-rolling. Weapons, shields in X-Class can be really good. There's no point in re-rolling S-Class shields for your ship. They're always exactly 30%. Pulse engines, hyperdrive upgrades, those are really good to re-roll for your ship. Multi-tool upgrade stuff to re-roll. Weapons, obviously. In fact, they just increased the ability of X-Class modules to be at least as good as S-Class, so I have to do some testing. I saw somebody say that they're identical, so they can only match S-Class, so I may as well keep those. But I can still re-roll within these to get better stats within S-Class, so I might do that anyway. Mining Beam, I've come to the conclusion that if you get a Sentinel multi-tool or an Atlantid multi-tool, or this Atlas Scepter, which has a double mining beam. Atlantid multi-tools have a runic lens. There's a second mining beam on Sentinel multi-tools. If you get one of them, it does not matter what stats you have here. You're going to cut through stuff like butter. You don't need to re-roll your S-Class modules for mining beam or X-Class ones. However, these scanner ones will get you a fortune in money, more than S-Class ones. So they're definitely worth re-rolling until you get some fauna analysis rewards to show up. Yeah, and that's the stuff that I use it for, how you do it, how it works. I don't know the why of why it works, but that's everything about upgrade module re-rolling. So until next time, have a good time.